Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have unreliable Dodge Durangos being ditched by the Indiana police, which isn't good considering, again, they get those large, massive fleet contracts. And it's even more pathetic when you consider the competition, because it's cliche, but unions protect unions. So, and also, depending on how you define American made versus, companies manufactured here versus headquartered here, there's a reason why pretty much every police department in the United States uses Chevrolet or Ford, as well as, Dodge, because this part of the big three, the United Auto Workers, are the largest auto union out there. And, they get those vehicles and sometimes they run. Sometimes they don't. Now, this comes with thanks to Nika, who says, and is working at the drive, saying, quote, Indiana police will liquidate busted Dodge Durangos, saying Stellantis won't help, which, that's not good. The police chief says, especially bad PR, saying, quote, all of us, taxpayers and police departments alike, have paid for a compromised product, and Dodge has failed to take responsibility. Which here you can see one of those iconic Dodge Durangos. This is a pursuit vehicle, which, I mean, there's a volume. I mean, let's be honest, it's usually General Motors or predominantly Ford when it comes to these fleet sales, but still, these are pretty good contracts, so you definitely don't want to mess them up. And for all the vehicles to make reliable, presumably you want to make the one where they do the big, nice, big bulk purchase orders. So definitely not smart to piss off the public sector in this regard. And I say, quote, police departments across Indiana, including the Indiana State Police, have been experiencing widespread engine failures on the new Dodge Durango Pursuit cruisers. Despite being just a few years old, oil coolers are failing in many Dodge Durango cop cars and killing engines that one department has decided to sell its vehicle at a big loss because Stellantis has allegedly failed to help. Now, police chief, I'm not trying to butcher this pronunciation, Castellanos Nunez, N-U-S-E-S, Nunces, says, quote, we are forced to make a difficult decision to prematurely sell these Durangos, incurring a significant financial loss for the department and ultimately for you, the taxpayers. The situation is not just disappointing, it's fundamentally unfair. All of us, taxpayers and police departments alike, have paid for a compromised product, and Dodge has failed to take responsibility or provide a viable solution, nor have they offered any type of compensation for the downtime of these vehicles. This has left us in a bind, struggling to fulfill our duty to protect and serve. There you can see the interior of one of those Dodge Durango Pursuit vehicles. Now they say, quote, the issue stems from oil coolers failing, leading to coolant and engine oil combining to create a terrifying milky mixture that all car enthusiasts fear, which, talking about rudimentary, pathetic mistake, this leads to the engine damage and sometimes complete failure. Many Dodge Durangos reportedly failed before reaching 15,000 miles. Yet another reason to buy a Honda or a Toyota, because those last hundreds of thousands, if not millions of miles, depending on how you take care of them. So these are failing as early as 15,000 miles. Someone's incomprehensibly bad. 15? Nothing. They say, quote, after trying to manage the problem since late 2022, Nunces wrote that in May of this year, Stellantis finally promised they'd issue revised parts to the department within 2 weeks. But 4 months later, the department says it's still yet to receive any parts. No parts, no financial compensation, no help. Which, I don't know how bad you are as a sales representative or customer support representative to not respond to one of these. Again, you get to the level when you have Stellantis or, Dodge, which again, Stellantis bought out, so it's part of the portfolio. You usually have someone who's dedicated to the public sector. Usually you divide it based on geography. Again, we have a customer support issue. I mean, it doesn't take so much effort to respond. It takes maybe a little more effort to put a conference call together. You actually get these parts going. But it's not like they're asking for a magical new part that's never been manufactured before. It's just ridiculous. Now, let's say, quote, according to CBS, Stellantis releases the following statement. Oh, this is funny. Not the best thing to say when someone's saying your product sucks. I wouldn't recommend this, but I'm not a publicist. Let me know what your thoughts are. They say, quote, the Dodge Durango Pursuit meets or exceeds all applicable federal motor vehicle safety standards and is subject to severe operating conditions to which standard retail version Dodge Durango is immune. Let me stop that right there. As they say, quote, it's all safety standards, which, we're not talking about that today, but still, they want to be a little cliche, put out everything in there they can. They say, quote, further, a certain oil cooler issues are difficult to detect, which may lead to collateral damage and highly complex remedy. We sincerely regret any inconvenience caused by our valued police community customers and are working to expedite service for all affected vehicles. It's only taking them months to get, or what is it, 2 years to get to responding? Since the latest model launched in 2018, it has been deployed in thousands of police agencies across North America, and overall feedback has been exemplary. Are certain cooler issues really difficult to detect? How about replacing the again, this is, end quote, this is now the drive saying, quote, Are certain oil cooler issues really difficult to detect? How about just replacing the faulty ones with some that work? Without a fix from Stellantis, police departments were forced to put out even more tax dollars on expensive repairs and even entire engine replacements. Jeez. Additionally, cruisers, which often come out of the commission somewhere from 4 to 8 weeks during those repairs, a police cruiser breaking down on the way to emergency can be disastrous, so you'd imagine Stellantis want to help. Now, Nunez apparently doesn't have much of a choice to unload the failing Durangos at a loss, just to recoup some sunken cost and be replacing them. However, to quote, mitigate that financial impact of the situation, he has asked the Indiana Attorney General for assistance, which I don't say it's very often, but buy Ford, buy GM. Granted, it's still not going to be the best in terms of if you want a bulletproof vehicle, get a Camry. You might be laughed at by perpetrators or bad guys, but you at least get to the crime scene. And I mean, again, the bar for public sales is so low because again, there's 3 options that they usually choose from. Because again, it's the unions protecting unions. I mean, you have Ford, you have Dodge, and you have Dodge Stellantis, and you have GM. Which again, for GM fleet sales or police, it's a Chevrolet brand that they're all done with. And yet, even with such little competition, now this police department basically has it's not going to be a coin toss. They'll have a preference, but they're not going to go with this company again. Stellantis sales down, or again, their profits are down 50%. The sales are down about 30 to 40%. They can't afford to keep making mistakes like this. And again, it's bad PR. Other police departments across the U.S. are going to reference this use case. They're going to see, and again, it takes very little, especially being a business owner, being so customer oriented, and you don't take days off. You respond immediately. You do whatever you can to assist the customer. I mean, one of the biggest frustrations for customers is just not getting a response. It's not getting immediate feedback. And again, if you just let people know, acknowledge their issue and say you're working on it, and even better, give them 1, 2, 3 ABC steps in terms of what you're doing to help them. They didn't even do that. They basically ignored this problem, which added insult to injury. All Stellantis had to do was say immediately, hey, we appreciate your feedback. I don't know how much it would cost. Let's get a tech on site to look at your situation. Let's get replacement parts flown overnight. Would they lose money on that? Maybe in the short term, but long term, that kind of customer service is invaluable. And again, it's almost unfathomable how bad Stellantis is right now. They are in so much deep crap. I suspect they're going to start slashing brands left and right because again, there's all of them companies on the planet. They have the largest portfolio. I think they have about 16 brands. I mean, GM is down to 4. They used to have dozens before the 2009 bankruptcy. Most companies are shredding the brands that aren't selling, and it's a little sad because I feel some iconic, although not iconic enough to sell, brands biting the dust, like Saab, throughout the years. But yeah, to have one of your most important segments of the market, again, public sector sales, not being taken care of properly, and now having insult to injury to the point where they're losing money. They're just going to basically throw the products away or sell them at negative. I gotta say, Stellantis and the Dodge team, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.